Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Season 0 of the Nebula series. We're officially in Week 7, our final week of the regular season before playoffs begin. I'm your host, producer, and part-time caster Caustic, and kicking things off for our first matchup tonight. We've got a showdown of a lifetime here, as these two teams with identical records battle for the number 1 seed in Div 4. We have Izanagi Esports facing off against Blackout Eclipse. And after that, the current number 1 team in Div 5, and one of only 3 currently undefeated teams in Nebula, will be looking to solidify a perfect record in the history books as Drop the Guns battle against heavy hitters. And without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce you to tonight's Match 1 casters. For this first matchup tonight, I'm going to be shoutcasting for all of you, but joining me tonight for Match 1, please give a warm welcome to our analyst, Gem.
Hello, you got me again.
So this duo is back, I guess. We've had some interesting duos in terms of casters. So
last week we casted the reverse sweep with Leviathans, and certainly that was a fantastic match to watch.
Yeah, that was a spectacle, if there ever is a spectacle to watch. But I mean, we've got another interesting matchup here. 2 teams, identical records.
I mean, technically, it's the same situation from last week. I mean,
Yeah.
Leviathans and Shapeless had a identical record because they were both undefeated, and Izanagi and Blackout Eclipse both have very respectable records going into this. So honestly, on paper, it seems like it's going to be a very even game.
Yeah, if there's ever a match for 3-2, of course, this is another game that Dusty's not here to cast. The caster curse, I guess, is going to live on. This is likely going to be a 3-2 matchup. I mean, knock on wood, can't confirm anything yet, but it's going to be interesting to see as we're going to take a look at the opening rosters for these teams. For Izanagi, we've got Collapse on the tank, Revolve and Era on the DPS side. You've got Wild and Wanderlust as your support duo. And for Blackout Eclipse, we're seeing basically the roster we've come to know. It's basically their standard roster. You've got Shoreline Tank, Dino Dan, and Manana on the DPS side, and Theory and Race on support.
So looking at the lineups for both of these teams, it looks like they're very dive oriented. While I'm not very familiar with Izanagi and Blackout's compositional record and what they like to play in the past, I do think that having this mirror dive matchup is going to be very interesting to watch. Dive mirrors are especially interesting because it's a test of both your knowledge and your micro capability. So dive is truly the way that Overwatch should be played, combining the two hardest things to do as a player, putting them together, and the one who brains the brains and aims the best wins. And that's perfect Overwatch in my heart.
Yeah, honestly, that's kind of the way Overwatch should be played, or at least the way I see it as intended to be played. So
often it's not. I mean, you look at the pros; they're playing Mauga and stuff like that. And it's just like, oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, and not to say that. Well, I could do that because they're playing Mauga or something. No, but like more like. It's just like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm just watching another Mauga comp. Oh, they stomped in again. That's a fun engage. They do that over and over again. Well, where you watch Winston, it's just like, oh, wait, he just had to go from that angle. He's over there, and then they're like this. Oh, they set up the pinch, and they're ready to go in. It's like, right. And that's exciting.
That's the entertainment.
Nobody wants to watch the Mauga slam in for the 4th time and then win the 50-50 fight. Like it's so boring. So hopefully tonight we get some insane dive, showing off the prowess of both of these teams.
Yeah, and we have the first matchup, or the first match for Control. It's the given choice. It's Lijiang. We always see Lijiang. We've seen it from week 1. We've seen it week 2. It's week 7. We're still gonna see it. I'd be surprised if playoffs come and we don't see Lijiang Tower.
Now, Liu Shang is not usually something that you want to run dive on. So, assuming that I honestly can assume it's safe to assume that they have something else up their sleeve. Both sides have something else up their sleeve here to play, compositional wise. And first match is going to be on a control center. So usually we see a lot of Ram, we see some Orisa, we see some Malga on this kind of thing. And it looks like ooh. All right. On the side of it, on the side of Blackout, they've got the standard. Queen comp. I'm assuming Dinodan's probably going to swap to like a Sojourn or like a Tracer here, but Izanagi is looking like it's going to go for a Sojourn pocketed hyper sustain with this Ramatra. So it'll be curious to see how this is going to pan out.
I was gonna say, we've been baited a couple times on stream when it comes to comps, so I didn't want to say anything set in stone, but you look at this kind of composition, relatively the same. Only difference is going to be the tanks, as we have just early fight here, trying to get some poke damage. Dinodan falls to half, but team's not going to be able to get a pick. Collapse throws down the shield early. The Queen is going to use the shout to try and get an early engage. Revolve is fairly low in this backline, and they're going to get taken down by Dinodan, but they take down the Genji in the process. So the point's very quickly going to go to Blackout Eclipse, but there's not really been enough of a team fight to find or enough of a battle for there to be a deciding team just yet on this fight. The knife comes in, Collapse is going to get taken down from Manana. So now it looks like Blackout Eclipse is just going to be trying to get the last of these picks, as Era, desperately trying to stay alive, is going to fall to Dinodan, and Dinodan's going to be able to take down Revolve with the right click to finish off that first team fight. And 30% already taken off from the flashpoint control map.
So what you saw a lot from Blackout Eclipse there is that they got to their point early and they took that space early, and that's what you have to do with this Queen comp in order to outlast this the sustain. Just play early, get a pick early, and yeah, win the game.
Yeah, and here you see Theory getting close to the beat. Have 87%. Shoreline's going to fall early to Revolve. Manon's going to take down Wild in the process. So Blackout Eclipse are going to be down their tank, but they are going to be able to switch the point. No other picks are going to come just yet. Manana is going to be fairly low, around halfway, trying to look to see what they can do here. They do spot Era. A bit of right clicks going back to back. They're not able to find a pick, but Wanderlust is going to pop out the Kitsune Rush. Wild, fairly close to the beat, does have it. Era also has the blade to use, so a lot of ults in the ult bank. And Izanagi Esports are going to try and set up for this for some more control of this point.
So now we're looking at the ult bank here, and oh my gosh, the Kitsune rushes early, and all the ultimates are coming out from both sides. However, both holding on to their OCs here.
Yeah,
but
OC and the tank ult alive for both teams, but Shoreline gets taken down early. So now Collapse is going to just be looking for any targets that they can find. Shoreline is going to be trying to come back with their team relatively quick, but Collapse has a good ultimate for sustaining. So it's going to be interesting to see which of these ults is going to get the most value for their team. Shoreline does have a good ult for taking down a group of people when you factor in the anti and all that. Collapse is going to use the ult early. They're looking to try and kill someone with the punches. Manana falls dangerously close, but is going to be able to live and get the Mega. Shoreline here still has their ult, trying to look for an opportunity to use it. They're gonna slash onto Collapse, and they use the shout. They are gonna use the ult. It's gonna get 4. They're gonna take down one of the process. They find Arrow with the slash. Collapse falls in the process as well. The only person left on the point is going to be Revolve, trying to potentially get this contain this point, but it is going to flip back over to Blackout Eclipse, and the OC is still in hand for both teams.
Now OC's still in hand here, and they're coming up on the beat for the side of Blackout. However, Izanagi's got this Kitsune rush, so theoretically they can win this fight here.
Revolve is going to pop the OC. You do see the Kitsune rush popped prior to that as well. The OC does not seem to find anyone yet, but Dinodan gets taken down. Dinodan also had an overclock, so that's going to remove the overclock from the equation. Theory uses the beat, but it's a little too late to try and save their DPS, and the point is ticking. 7% and counting, as Wild is going to try and contest the point just to stall into overtime. They are going to be able to at least force the overtime clock from ticking. Dinodan is going to be able to pop the OC with the Kitsune rush from their own Kiriko. They're looking to try and take down Revolve in the process, but they're not going to be able to. Revolve gets the help from the TP from the Kiri who TP'd in, but the Kiri falls at the same time. Race dangerously low, but is going to be able to kill Revolve in the process, and Blackout Eclipse are going to take the Lijiang Tower map.
Score 0-1.
Okay, so well, basically, what a crazy game here. So basically, what we're seeing from the reason why like Blackout had the advantage on these Nagas there is that they played their space very appropriately, and they understood that that rotations are key for them. The hyper sustain Ramatra thing really thrives on staying in one place and making people come to them, where Blackout Eclipse can go wherever they want to, bait Izanagi to walk towards them and take them out. So let's see. Izanagi looks like it's going to swap to this Winston comp here, hopefully to outmaneuver Blackout, be a little faster.
Yeah,
maybe take on this backline a little harder.
That's kind of, looking at it, that's kind of the stereotypical dive setup that you would see from them. Blackout Eclipse are going to be able to TP onto the point early on. Manana is going to be looking to try and deal some early damage here. Fair amount of charge on the beam, but Revolve's going to take down two of them with the help of Era getting the other person, and Shoreline's going to take the opportunity to just reset and get back with their team, as Izanagi's going to get control point fairly early here. And Manana's switching over to the Pharah. It's gonna be interesting to see.
I like the Pharah pick here. A Blackout wants to poke out this Symmetra to really make sure that she doesn't get a lot of value by just putting people in the microwave, and gets the early pick on the Era.
So Manana putting in some work with the Pharah. Got their eyes on Revolve, who I honestly thought was going to be their main target or their main concern when it comes to how much value they can get on this Pharah, but so far they haven't had to worry too much about them, as they're going to start making some progress on the point. You do have Era, who falls relatively low, but is going to get the support that they need to live. Manana takes down the Lucio with the boom!
The boom city!
You normally expect a Lucio to get a boot kill.
Now, what a fantastic play.
That is a play and a half, as Shoreline is going to make it to the point to contest it with the help of their team, and Theory finds a boop onto the collapse. So that's 2 boom kills for Blackout Eclipse in the last 2 fights. Era here is going to be slashing and basically slicing and dicing with their slash here, as Revolve finds the final blow onto Shoreline. Manana here trying to stay alive. They do have the barrage on hand, but it doesn't look like they're going to use it just yet, as there are a lot of ults in play for Izanagi Esports, and they do have the advantage when it comes to just time and point progress.
Okay.
Era's scouting out where they're going.
So now looking at this ultimate here, Izanagi has that significant ult tank, so they can honestly just afford to dump everything in here, and that's exactly what they're doing. Sorry, early with the blade, where Theory responding in kind with the speed, and then Manana going with the thing, and we got a Boop City kill from Wild on the Theory here. Manana finding Revolve with the barrage, but it looks like Izanagi's run out of steam, and It's only Winston left alive, and he's taken out just like Harambe in 2016.
Oh, too soon. Even though it's been almost 9 years, too soon. And here we see Manana trying to take the high ground early on. You did see almost a form of like a reactive beat from Izanagi there, but they still have the OC to use, and Collapse has the Primal Rage, so they have a lot of ults to try and just stay alive, as you're going to see Collapse pop the Primal Rage early on, trying to just bully the JQ in the corner, and it is going to work for them, as that's effectively a team kill, and that, in theory, should confirm the second flashpoint point, or the second control point to them. Jesus, I keep saying flashpoint. That's how fast control can go at times. It just feels like flashpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Ready
So,
for battle.
so now it's 1-1 here. Let's see how Blackout adapts to this new Winston comp. What they proved, what Izanagi did that Blackout Eclipse couldn't, was that their ultimate usage was much better than the side of Izanagi, unlike the round before. So now what all Blackout has to do is lock in, keep those ultimates in mind, and make sure they're not doubling or tripling up too hard.
True, and I mean, when you think about it, with Manana, you know that the Pharah got a fair amount of value on that first map, or that second map, the last map you just played. So honestly, in my eyes, Pharah is built for this specific part of Lijiang Tower. So if anything, going back to that Pharah is not a horrid option, as Theory's gonna find a boop kill onto Collapse. Am I seeing that right? Dino Dan here is going into the backline. They're going to take down the Kiriko in the process, and Blackout Eclipse are going to get the point control very early on, but Dino Dan almost falls from the deflect. They do get the support that they need, so they are going to be able to live. Era 35 HP in a dream, as they're going to be getting some help from their Kiriko to stay alive. Collapse here is just trying to find the target that they're going to want to jump onto. They're going for the Lucio first. The rest of the team is going to come in with them to try and take them down. Era finds a melee kill onto Manana. Wild gets a boop kill on Dino Dan. And now... Jeez, it's Boop City, as they find a right-click kill on Theory. And it looks like Manana's gonna be sticking with the Sim. So not switching over to Pharah like I had envisioned. They're gonna stick with the Sim for, in theory, most of the map, you know, potentially the entire map, depending on how much value they can find. As now we see a team fight on the point that slowly moves back. You do see the Kitsune Rush get popped from Izanagi Esports. Era does find Manana and is going to be able to take down Dino Dan in Shoreline. He pops the blade, going for the 5k. Is not able to solidify a 5k, but that is a wonderful performance from Era, as now Manana's going to switch over to the Pharah.
I mean, I like the pick of the Symmetra is not bad. Oh, and Manana finds a early pick onto Wild, and it's engagement time. It's time to go. But is Manana gonna fall in? No. Beat is popped from the side of Theory, but Shoreline's running low. Beat's running out. Manana's about to die and picked off by Wanderlust. However, it doesn't look like Izanagi has enough ground to stand on, and is getting run over. We're getting run over by Collapse and the rest of Blackout. The stall is trying to go through, and Era's trying to catch up to Wild as fast as possible. But now Izanagi's...
Way to confirm that kill by Era, getting it with the melee. And that's going to give them the dash reset to be able to get back into the bubble with the rest of their team. Manana's going to get taken down as well. So point is ticking. Not much time left. The Kiri's going to get taken down with the dash. Collapse pops the Primal Rage. He does have the Winton beat to, or the Lucio beat to try and sustain. Manana's the only one left, and they're not really going to be able to touch. So this first map is going to go to the side of Izanagi Esports, as they take Lijiang Tower 2-1.
So honestly, a very good match from the side of Izanagi and Blackout. Izanagi taking that early lead with the Junker Queen comp, outmaneuvering the Ram comp from the side of Blackout. Then Blackout finally taking that what's that called? The adapting to it and then switching to the Winston comp to help waste cooldowns from the side of Izanagi, make them run out of steam early, and then finally Izanagi being like, okay, you want Winton? We got Winton.
Yeah.
Pulling out the Gorilla v Gorilla on the last map and taking Lijiang control tower.
Yeah, honestly, this is a matchup like no other. I mean, you love to see
close.
Yeah, you love to see matchups where it's close. And this is obviously no disrespect to any of the teams here. We've had moments before on stream where it feels like it's just a stomp, you know? And I'm not going to say any matches in particular, because that'd be doing an injustice to all the teams who come out and play their heart out for the streams. But we've had matches where you can tell the skill level, there's a difference. There's a differential in more often than not, thank you to the Twitch chat. I mean, a lot of people are going to root for the underdogs. But now that we see a matchup where it's this neck and neck, and we've actually seen more neck and neck matches as the season has progressed. Now we're seeing these matches where it can go either side. So we do have the hybrid pick coming in. I'm going to show the map pool just really quick. We always see King's Row, right? That's become a staple. It's always been a staple, to be fair. It's Scrims Row. We've seen a bit more Paraiso and Hollywood played recently, though.
It seems that both teams are kind of Winton teams, so honestly, I'm looking for that Hollywood here.
Okay.
It depends on the backline. Honestly, it depends on the backline that they're comfortable with, but Hollywood and Paraiso seem a lot more likely from the side that Blackops would choose to pick here.
True. I mean, Scrims Row, it's always mentioned because everybody just seems to play it. But
we got two dive teams today.
Yeah, we've got two dive teams, so this is the night for there to be, you know, the unthinkable or the switch ups with these.
And I would argue Hollywood is the dive Scrims Row equivalent. How many teams you see people playing on Hollywood? True.
You've got a valid point here. And it looks like they're going to take this over to Paraiso. So
ooh, Paraiso is not a bad option at all. If they want to run this brawl or if they want to run the dive, honestly. Paraiso is a strangely versatile map. If you want to play brawl, you hold them at the bridge. If you want to play dive, I mean, you feign that you give them some space at the bridge, jump on them as they're rotating.
Mm-hmm.
Fun stuff from both sides. Same thing if you're on attack though. It works perfectly well.
Yeah.
Now, Paraiso is known to be a hit scan stall map where if one person's just popping off on Ashe or Widow or Cassie or Sojourn, you know, they're just kind of stuck. You guys kind of stuck there, but
yeah.
Okay,
honestly,
so Blackout Eclipse is
helps.
not playing this.
Yeah. Well, we say that.
So no, that's not that either.
We have seen Lifeweaver actually be played and work out with an Orisa.
No, it's not the Lifeweaver that I'm worried about here. Collapsed.
Yeah,
it's the Lifeweaver. Okay, so this is fine. This is okay.
Like how slowly and surely you're getting more and more convinced.
Okay, so there we go.
Okay.
Perfect. Now, honestly, the Mouth is not a bad pick.
Yeah.
Oh.
That makes
we're gonna get dive mirror. Never mind.
Yeah, it's a mirror match. All right.
Getting debated. This is exactly. I mean, I can't complain. This is gonna be some fun Overwatch.
Yeah, I told you that the teams like to bait the casters, so here we are. As early fight here, Arrow's gonna get dove onto, barely lives. Luckily, the Lucio was able to stay with them to try and help them. So now Manana and Dino Dan and Shoreline are all going to be trying to find their next dive targets as Winton v Winton here on this lower part of the map. Shoreline does not have the bubble advantage, however, Collapse does, and Era's going to get taken down from Manana on the dash. So now... Ooh, you're going to see tight space here. They're not going to be able to find a pick off of it, but Collapse is fairly low. Shoreline's low as well. Dino Dan's going to take down the Lucio. Manana's going to take down the Winston. Dino Dan's going to find their mirror matchup in the Soj. Shoreline's going to be able to jump onto Wanderlust to take them down and basically confirm this first objective for Blackout Eclipse on Paraíso. Honestly, I find the payload part, at least for the second point, is always the harder part to really win for a team.
Yeah, and Izanagi's comp doesn't really complement what their objectives here very well, since they're usually run that Lucio that on a brig for a little bit more sustain and to keep them in place. Shoreline finding Era before falling very low and having to fall back.
Dino Dan here on the flank is gonna find Wanderlust and takes down Collapse.
See, that's why you need that on a brig in the backline to provide that sustain from far away and not having to commit super far up. Not having your supports having to commit super far up and get picked off that early. Now Izanagi can just take all of this space for free, and it's essentially like Blackout Eclipse is on attack now.
Yeah, and not to jinx anything here, but honestly, Blackout Eclipse has the advantage when it comes to DPS ults. I mean, Dino Dan's close to the OC, and Manana just used the blade. Era's only at 80%, and Revolve gets taken down. Dino Dan's gonna fall in the backline from Era, but Race is gonna be able to take down Era as well. Collapse here is gonna be focusing on the Lucio, or not the Lucio, the Genji, trying to take them down. Is not gonna be able to confirm the kill just yet. The Genji here getting a lot of healing from their Kiriko. Collapse trying to confirm that kill, but isn't going to be able to. Shoreline did pop the Primal Rage earlier on, but Collapse is not going to pop the Primal Rage for themselves, and as the fight winds down, Blackout Eclipse are going to come out of this with the second point. So now, looking at this fight, I mean, Izanagi Esports has a really good opportunity to try and flip the momentum into their favor, as they do have the ult advantage 3-1 currently, but they don't have any support ults, so they don't have that to use as a potential crutch. Revolve here is going to pop the OC early on, looking for a pick. They're not going to be able to get it, as they use most of that OC to try and damage Shoreline's bubble. Collapse here is going to pop the Primal Rage, basically trying to keep them in their spawn. Looking for a kill, is not going to be able to confirm one just yet, but now they're stuck in this bubble with most of the Blackout Eclipse team trying to take them down. They are going to be able to kite out before they get taken out, but now 130 HP. They're just going to have to try and back up with their team. They don't have much health as Shoreline takes down Era, and now Collapse is going to get dove on by the other Winston. You hear the OC get popped from Dino Dan. They're looking to try and confirm any kill that they can. Looking primarily at Collapse, if anything, from what I can tell. Collapse is trying to stay alive as long as they can, using the bubbles to try and protect their team, as well as Era does have this blade and is probably looking for an opportunity to make a huge impact with it. You're going to see the Kitsune Rush popped by Blackout Eclipse first. Era here tries to take down Manana, and they do take down Manana with the help of Wanderlust. Era picks up their major perk, as well as now they're going to probably be looking to try and find an opportunity to use this beat. They're going to try and take down the Soj first, but the beat from Theory is going to help them out. The Kitsune Rush is used by Izanagi, but Era gets taken down by Dino Dan. Shoreline's gonna pop the Primal Rage, looking to try and take down Wild, but isn't gonna be able to confirm the kill just yet. But they have their eyes on the target, and they are gonna take them down with a little bit of time. Era coming back into the fight. They do have the blade to use, but they're not gonna be able to find a pick with it, as they're gonna get taken down. Collapse is the only one left to try and stall the payload, but they don't have much time, and that is gonna do it. As Blackout Eclipse are gonna get the full 3 points plus 2 minutes and 30 seconds left on overtime on their attack for Paraíso.
Now, while this is a dive-oriented map, you have to understand what your backline's job is and understand the map geometry and its limitations. The Lucio is going to have a very difficult time getting any value by following up with dives or escorting flankers on all three of these maps. So on this Lucio, you honestly just kind of have to play stacked on your Sojourn or running with your Genji instead of following your tank around. And Blackout's going to get that on a Brig backline I was talking about the last time. On a Brig backlines are very important on defense sided maps like Paraíso.
I'm sorry, I don't want to laugh. You are giving very insightful advice. I just want to point out a message that I see in the Twitch chat.
Oh, Lord.
If you force a monkey ult, would that be considered rage baiting?
Well, random chatter, you are correct, and I'm upset that you are. So take that as you will. You pissed me off, but I can't even deny that you're right. Let's just get into this stupid match.
Anyway, you do see Era here is going to go to the Tracer instead of the Genji for this attack side for them. They're going to try and do some damage early on. They do find Manana up top along with the Winston for Blackout Eclipse. Nobody has fallen yet, but Blackout Eclipse has gained a decent amount of space early on as Era's going to get taken down by the Ana. And Mignana here has eyes on the Kiriko, is not going to be able to jump on them to try and take them out, but Shoreline's going to be trying to find an opportunity to jump as they found one, use the bubble early on, and get taken down. Collapse is antied, but they're going to be able to kind of kite it long enough so that they come back into the fight and no longer antied, and they're jumping onto the Ana. The Ana misses the sleep dart, and now Izanagi Esports are going to try and work on capping this objective. And now we see Mignana in a really tough position here, is going to be able to dash back to get to Shoreline's bubble. And you've got Collapse sleeping just by the point. You've got Wild waiting to try and jump in with their Winston in this fight, but Collapse is going to fall fairly early on, and despite how much time they had, I don't know if they don't get the first tick.
That's the power of this Ana Brig backline. That monkey, or honestly any of the DPS or any of that team in general, was unable to stay on this Ana at any time, just because of the power of. And that's a huge pick from Dino down from the early pick on Era.
That is a great sleep.
Wild gets the Brig and the Sojourn.
So Shoreline's the only person left. They do get nanoed, but it's going to be a question of how long they can live for, and if they can try and pull something out here for their team. They do have the Primal Rage, but they're not going to pop it, as the fight was basically over, and now first objective is capped for Izanagi. Now they're working on the payload for this second point, and Dino Dan is fairly close to ult, 1% away, and they do have it. Manana did take down the Tracer, and they're working on getting the blade of their own to be able to use for an upcoming fight. They're going to be able to force Collapse back a bit. They do get a good deflect on Revolve's right click, but so far no early picks to try and keep either team away. Era does have this pulse, so you never know. A pulse bomb that hits the right target can switch a fight, and Dino Dan takes down Era with the right click. Wanderlust is going to fall as well on the payload. So now the only heals left for Izanagi is going to be the Lucio. And from the looks of things, they're just going to try and back up and get back together. But Manana takes down Revolve.
That early pick honestly is huge. Even though Izanagi has 4 ults online, that removes 1. So now technically they're equal in ult value. The Era looking for the pulse bomb hits it and sticks the landing, but Dino Dan immediately falls with another pick. Manana gets the pick on Wild, and Izanagi has no supports. Blackout is just free to move in.
Yeah, Wander's the only one that's really in a potential scenario to try and support their team. And I like the pulse on the Ana, but it's just a sad scenario that you get taken down from that pulse at the same time. You see 2 ults already used from Izanagi. You've got the OC and the beat. Collapse is the only one left with an ult, as you already see the Kitsune Rush get popped. Dino Dan uses the right click. They're trying to find a pick with it. They're going to try and do a lot of damage onto Collapse, who's forced to pop the OC out of the anti-nade. So that anti-nade helped them a lot with being able to at least get the Primal Rage out from that fight. Theory's going to pop the beat to keep the team alive. Shoreline now focused on Collapse, trying to take them down. Is going to pop the Primal Rage of their own. And they got eyes on the Winston here, as that is their primary target. They're going to try to take them down. They're going to fall into this small side room and take down Wild and Era. And now Collapse barely alive. They are going to fall at the end from Manana. And you see Revolve here, who swapped over to the Sombra and is already at 45 HP and has to go back to the spawn to try and get some health.
This Sombra swap is interesting. Never mind. I baited.
Of course. And I guess worth mentioning, Theory is on Lucio instead of Brig like they were playing at the first point.
So what Theory is aiming to do here is create an anchor point of this on in the backline, and Manana pops the Nano Blade, and it's slicing, dicing, ching, 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 2, it's 3, it's huge, it's massive, 4, and it's massive. Manana says, "See you, Manana."
Oh, that is a nasty Nano Blade, especially considering the time that is left. If you're Izanagi
Well,
Esports,
that's gonna hurt the Manana.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt the mental, especially considering the fact that Era is the only person with an ult, and it's the Pulse, which, in my opinion, kind of acts more as a cooldown, if anything, with how fast Pulse seems to get found. And it's a big question now, as time is ticking on, are you going to be able to win this next team fight with just a Pulse in hand to try and force, you know, overtime potentially? But you look at it, everyone's playing on the high ground, so you don't have the Pulse opportunity like you want, as Revolve gets taken down early. Era looking for their target.
That's the problem with having Tracer on these maps that are so high ground oriented. You have to take such long flanks just to do the same thing that Genji can do by just literally climbing up the wall. Shoreline falling low, it's down to 7 HP, and it falls early to Wanderlust. OT is ticking. Era really needs to get this pulse bomb out to get an early fight, keep people in spawn room here. Era's looking for this pulse bomb, getting ready, and it doesn't quite hit its mark.
They're going to be able to contest the payload, at least. Manana using the deflect is going to fall to Revolve, and it looks like they're going to opt to give them the second point as well, as the rest of their team's already falling. Shoreline is at least going to get the Primal Rage out of that fight, but they do get taken down, so it is going to be a stagger. So roughly a minute left to full cap the third point, and then you've got to wonder about OT if you're Izanagi.
Now this is very capable for Izanagi. They have the severe ult advantage, and honestly, they've just got to play as aggressive as possible. Take people out, get that poke out.
You just see the Kitsune Rush used early. Collapse is going to find Manana, is trying to dive in to take someone else down in the process. Shoreline is going to be able to escape. Collapse isn't going to be able to find a target just yet, waiting for their jump to be able to potentially look at facing off against somebody else. They're going to use the jump to try and kite back and stay alive as long as they can. Shoreline's going to pop the primal rage of their own, just trying to clear bodies, swinging their fists. Collapse is going to fall fairly low. They are going to pop the OC of their own. You do see Revolve pop the OC, but they are going to fall as well as Dino Dan, the nanoed OC, is close to taking down Collapse, and it will! And Dino Dan with the nano OC might be what Blackout Eclipse needed to confirm this map 2 in their favor. Wild's gonna pop the beat of their own just to try and contest as long as possible. Collapse is switching over to the Winston, or the ball, sorry. Manana pops the blade, slicing and dicing, trying to find a kill. Is gonna take down Revolve. Dino Dan's gonna take down Wild at the end. Collapse is contesting the point as long as they can. Wanderlust is dangerously low and is going to fall. So now it's just a question of how long can you stall if you're Collapse and you're going to get taken down, and I don't think Revolve's going to be able to touch. And that's going to be the second map going over to Blackout Eclipse, so it's a 1-1 tie coming into Flashpoint.
I mean, we knew this. We knew it was going to be pretty close. I mean, Blackout Eclipse showing Izanagi here. Yeah, no, we don't need that. We're better. We can have this, but and of course the Nano Blade 4K gets that there. He honestly deserves that.
Yeah,
he'll be talking about that
sense.
Until manana.
Yeah. You're looking for all of the name puns that you can find, aren't you?
There's only one I can do. It's just manana. Unless I'm talking about how they're collapsing.
Well, I've been talking about a couple theories here and there, and that's actually just incidental that I've been making that joke. So, I mean, I guess there are a couple name puns that we can work with here.
That's wild, but hey, that's just a theory.
A game theory.
Overwatch theory. Thanks for watching.
A Nebula theory. As coming into this Flashpoint, Izanagi are going to have the map pick, and they're also going to have a 5-minute break for both teams before we get into this Flashpoint map. So, what would you pick here out of the 2 Flashpoint options we have, being NJC and Suravasa?
NJC for sure. While I'm a Suravasa stan, you got it. Izanagi likes that Queen comp, and Ram really hates. What's that called? Ram comps really hate NJC. So why not take them to Australia, send them to the Abyss, get that free map win, and then let Blackout GG go next.
Okay. See, I feel like for Flashpoint we always see Suravasa. NJC is kind of that dark horse pick. But that's
exactly what I mean. Suravasa is objectively the better map. However, if Izanagi really wants to play to their strengths, like I really do think that that it's in their best interest to play NJC here.
All right. Well, with that, I'm gonna go back just to the map set, and in the meantime, we're gonna take the opportunity and take the 5-minute break for ourselves as well. But when we come back, we're gonna have the Flashpoint map confirmed for all of you, and we're gonna get back into this matchup. This has been one hell of a game so far. So we'll be back in roughly 5 minutes. We'll be back in roughly 5 minutes. Make sure to get some snacks, get some water, keep yourself hydrated. This is going to be a fun one. We'll be back. Welcome back, everybody. We have the Flashpoint map confirmed. 5-minute break is just winding off, and we just finished an ad break, so hopefully we're not going to have to worry about any more ads, at least during the Flashpoint map, as the map choice is going to be Suravasa.
I mean, I got a Sprite. That's all I got to say. That's what I did during my break.
Fair enough. I just took the break to kind of relax my vocal cords because, geez, these fights are like never ending.
They're very good. I really like how both teams are playing around, and I like how both teams are being very adaptive.
Yeah.
However, something I do want to see going into this is better commitment with ult usage. I mean, these maps are won by the team who uses their ult better, and
True.
if that's all it comes down to, then you bet for sure if I was the coach there, that's the one thing that I'd be talking about.
True. So honestly, I don't want to comment on this comp yet because I feel like we're getting trolled. I see you on your Switch, so that makes sense.
I'm gonna be real with you. I don't think I really like either of these.
Well, Blackout Eclipse is kind of running their normal comp. You're gonna see the Ram come out from Shoreline.
There we go.
So
Okay.
it's basically their typical hero selection. Manana's gonna switch over to the Genji, so it's basically their typical selection minus the Ram. I had a feeling we weren't gonna see the Mercy Curie, even though it can work. I felt like we weren't, and Hazard, I feel you don't see played much at all, as Collapse is going to go over to the JQ for this fight instead. So Blackout Eclipse are going to have early point progression in terms of early space for the point, but they're not going to cap it off right away, as now comes the battle to get this first flashpoint capped. Shoreline's going to go into the punches form, looking to try and just block, keep themselves alive as long as they can, while also looking for some opportunities to do some damage. Wanderlust is very low, is going to be able to use the cleanse to heal themselves. Revolve's going to take down Dino Dan, so they're finding their mirror, and Revolve takes down Fury as well, putting in work on this Soj with these right clicks, as Era was also dangerously low, and as Manana was also dangerously low and is going to get taken down by Era in the back line. And now Era here is just going to look to try and confirm these staggers, as the flashpoint first point is going to go early on to Izanagi.
Izanagi's just running Blackout Eclipse's pockets with this queen composition. It seems that they understand it a lot better, and Blackout Eclipse isn't very well equipped to handle it. So what Blackout really needs to do is just sit in a room, or go far away, make Izanagi run to them, and just stay still.
Dino Dan's gonna get taken down early. You see the Kitsune Rush get used as well. Revolve is half, but does almost have OC to use in this fight, as they're gonna give the flashpoint early on to Blackout Eclipse, opting to use the space instead and try and cap the point back later, as Revolve's gonna take down Manana, Era's gonna take down Race FPV, and Izanagi is gonna cap the flashpoint point again, or get progress on it right after that team fight. So you give them 22%, but you win the team fight and you keep the flashpoint first point going on your side.
Izanagi also has the ultimate advantage here. So while Blackout is coming up on 3 ultimates, Izanagi is just sitting on 5, basically.
Yeah.
So Race FPV goes very low, but the Kitsune Rush is popped early from the side of Izanagi, and same thing with the Queen ult. But Wanderlust is full. But when it falls, the blade comes out from Era, and it's over.
And that's going to finish off the team fight. Manana's going to get taken down afterwards, but they should get the respawn with their DPS duo. We're relatively close. I'd say that's all right.
So now Blackout Eclipse has put Izanagi in a very tough position here. Wild has the ultimate to counter all 4 of their ultimates, but however, only at one time. So
True.
all Blackout has to do is pop one, make Wild pop his, and then just run on to the other. But Revolve decides to pop the OC in order to counter this grab ult, and
of their own. Wild is fairly low. They're gonna opt to not use the beat, save the opportunity of potentially getting Ajaxed, and give the point over to Blackout Eclipse early on. Manana's gonna find the dash onto Era. Race FPV gets the kill on Revolve. So 2 ults used there to confirm the flashpoint early on for Blackout Eclipse. You're gonna be coming back with the Kitsune Rush if you're Blackout Eclipse as well to make that 3. Wild still has this beat, and I think at this point the best thing they can do is just try and hold it long enough to be able to get another support ult in their bank. As Revolve's taking down Manana, getting rid of one of the ults fairly early, and collapses take down Race FPV. So the only ult left is Dino Dan. Era
City, baby.
Era doesn't get the credit for the boop. Wild doesn't get credit for the boop kill because Era killed them before they touched the water.
It was a boop city in my heart.
Yeah, in our hearts and souls, Wild gets the boop kill, even though Era technically got the final blow.
Wild gets cucked by Era 4K onto HD.
But if you're Izanagi Esports, you now have the point control, and you didn't use the beat. You've got the Kiriko ult coming in at any time here, and Collapse has the ult of their own, so really they're able to deal with that fight without having to worry about an ult. And now Manana's going to come in with the blade, but Wild's going to be able to use the beat just to kind of negate all of it, and Era gets taken Manana gets taken down by Era as well.
And there's a boop city from Wild.
Yeah. Wild, I guess, decides, well, if you're gonna take my kill when it's a Genji, I'm gonna get it on a Soj instead. So redemption coming in.
Hey, I have some. Don't you think it's wild if they booped them into the shoreline?
Good one. So
he's in his booping era.
Collapse here is going to be looking to try and potentially use this ult on a target if needed to confirm the point, but Dino Dan tries to flank and is looking to get some value with the OC. They're going to get pulled in from Collapse's knife, and they're going to get taken down early. Shoreline's really the only one left potentially being able to contest. They do get cleansed by Race, but Race isn't going to be able to TP to try and stall the flashpoint much longer, as Revolve's going to take them down in the backline. So an early 2-point lead on flashpoint for Izanagi Esports, and they
Shoreline
do have
here,
a good ult advantage.
Shoreline here did make that swap to the Winston last point, hoping to regain the same advantage that they had on Bijan. However, these points are not as grouped up as they were before, and Shoreline's gonna struggle to get any picks on anybody just simply because the map favors Izanagi's comp quite a bit. Era's camping like a little rat underneath there, looking for the perfect time to engage. He wants this blade. They're still booped. They're still poking around.
Theory does pop the beat, but Era didn't pop the blade yet. So in this opportunity, I mean, Era has. I mean, the rest of the team is just going to fall by default, but Era had a big opportunity to potentially get a kill with the blade and get a lot of value because they didn't have to worry about the beat anymore. And they try and take down Shoreline, who was 1% away from getting the Primal Rage, but instead they're going to be able to live and keep that Primal Rage to potentially try and stall on this Flashpoint point, as this is really the make or break scenario for Blackout Eclipse. They have to get this flashpoint or they're going to lose the map. But Wild's gonna pop the beat too late trying to save Collapse, but it's going to at least confirm they're able to use the blade, which gets one, but isn't going to be able to take down anybody else. Revolve's going to pop the OC of their own, but they're not going to be able to confirm any kills off of it. Manana falls dangerously low, but Shoreline's Primal is going to shift the momentum over to their team as they get some progress on this Flashpoint map with 2% left for Izanagi Esports to be trying to fight for.
Izanagi's down on ultimates here. If Collapse decides to just pop this ultimate early, it may prove trouble for Shoreline.
Manana's popping the blade early, looking for some kills. They already used the dash, so they're not going to be able to use that to try and get a kill confirm with it. Collapse does not pop their ult of their own, I guess trying to save it to use it in a better situation, but Blackout Eclipse have lost 3 people, and the flashpoint's going to flip over to the side of Izanagi. Overtime's going to be ticking. It's a question if anybody can touch. Collapse is going to use the ult, but they don't jump in. And Izanagi is going to take the flashpoint map in a clean 3-0 victory on flashpoint.
Yeah, Blackout just on that last fight just kind of inted a little too hard, had a little bit too much fun, got a little too silly there. With that blade but it kept Manana too far out of position, and there was no recovering. Honestly, when you're in that situation on that Winston comp, believe it or not, you want that Queen comp to walk into you, to use those speed resources so that you can jump on them. While they have nothing to run away from. Holding up close really only works if you're playing a hyper sustained comp like within a Risa or a Malgo or a Ramatra, that like we commonly see.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, that was just kind of a misplay on the side of Blackout, and now it's Blackout Eclipse's map pick once again. Izanagi and Blackout have both won on their map picks. So where I sit right now when I'm thinking about making a comp, or thinking about what map to pick, is there's one obvious standout that we should not play: Havana. Since both teams have shown their prowess on the dive, and Izanagi especially showing that showing that they're better on the dive. Personally, I would pick Route 66 here. Shambali Monastery has some brawl capabilities, has some nice pathways to path through. While Route 66 is pretty exclusively a dive map, no matter how you decide to play it. And honestly, since Izanagi have shown, since Blackouts has shown, we can play that Brig on a backline. That's no problem. Why not take him to Route?
True. I like the Route 66 pick, especially with the Ana Brig. That first point Ana Brig, it's a staple. You see that all the time. I can confirm we have some swaps, or at least one swap, what I see so far. And we do also have the map pick coming up. And it looks like, from what I see, Blackout Eclipse are going to be swapping out Dino Dan.
What do they put in?
They're putting in, let me show you real quick, actually. Update that. So the new updated roster here, their updated lineup, they've got Cupid coming in to replace Dino Dan, and Cupid opted to choose Tracer as the hero to show for themselves.
If you're going for that dive here, Tracer is a pretty good is a decent option on third point. However, due to all the high ground, she may struggle a little bit dealing with the people on high ground and trying to find a good angle to get to. So we'll see if Cupid actually decides to stick with the Tracer here, and if they do, let's see how that pans out.
Yeah, so we do actually have another switch coming in just real quick, because we do have the map pick, so Izanagi is able to choose defense or offense. So it's understandable that they would take a little bit to solidify a switch in that situation, because, I mean, depending on the map, that's going to decide who you kind of want in if you have a player that specializes with a specific kind of setup. So as I just
Phew.
confirmed that, excuse you,
Thank
we
you.
have for Izanagi now, we've got Vic coming in to replace Era. And Vic opted to have Ash as the hero shown next to their name, as we now are able to go over to show the maps, the map pick, which is going to be Havana.
Wow. So Blackout Eclipse saying they're saying, okay, well, you know, maybe the Winston didn't work last map. Let's bring out the poke.
Yeah.
And it's been a while since I've seen a good poke matchup. So this will be pretty exciting. It won't, because poke sucks. But
damn. Well, I guess we know that you are not a fan of poke.
it's shooty and rotatey, and that's it. Oh, you didn't hit your shots. Oh, you rotated too slow. You lose. Womp womp.
Womp womp. Damn. So Havana, it's gonna be interesting here. It's funny. I haven't played a lot of team like scrim level Overwatch, right? Most of my experience with Overwatch has always been more just, you know, queuing comp, the comp side of things. So for me, I've always found Shambali as one of my worst maps, and Havana and Route 66 to be maps that I'm actually more comfortable with. I wonder if part of that maybe has an element into these map picks for some, for some of the players.
I can speak at the scrim level. All my homies hate Havana unless you got a really good hit, unless you got a really good double hit, 2-hit scan players.
Yeah,
or like a Hanzo player.
Yeah,
Havana
fair,
is very difficult. Havana is a very difficult map to play.
For Izanagi, you did see Vic come in replacement of Era, who was playing the Genji. So I believe that's for the double hit scan, as Vic's going to be rocking out on the Widow to start off, and Cupid is also on the Widow.
However,
both swaps
take a
gone
look
to Widow, but oh god.
Izanagi playing the very principled poke composition here, but however, Blackout opting for this strange dive poke combo. Not something that you see very often, except for ironically, Havana.
Yeah, and you see Theory on the Zenyatta. So it's gonna be interesting to see no, they switched back. I was gonna say who is their Discord target if they stay there prolonged, but it doesn't look like they're going to. Collapse is gonna opt to use the shield to try and protect Vic, but Shoreline and Manana are gonna try and dive onto onto Vic here. Not able to find a kill out of it, but they are going to get a lot of space, as Cupid is going to switch back over to the Soj instead of sticking with the Widow. So just going for the Widow early on to try and solidify a pick, and now Vic is looking to try and get a pick with the Widow of their own. So far, no luck, but they're going to take down Shoreline, and that's going to be very helpful for their team, as you get rid of the tank. That's a big factor in the equation.
POV Cincinnati Zoo 2016.
Again. Oh. And Collapse is going to look to set up the shield in the same spot as they did before to try and protect against a lot of the spam damage that Vic would potentially be a victim to. Shoreline's going to jump in, trying to get rid of that space and look at potentially getting a kill, but they're not going to be able to confirm anything off of that just yet. Vic is going to find Wanderlust a little bit away from their team, but they're not going to commit into trying to take down Wanderlust fully. Vic is going to switch over to the Ashe in this situation. Cupid here is trying to stay alive with their team, looking to see where they can make some magic happen as they take down Collapse, and Manana and Race get rid of the rest of the team, and Vic falls shortly after.
Manana really fragging out in that backline here. Now, Blackout Eclipse's strategy seems to be rock, paper, scissors, shoot. poke beat, dive beat poke. We play dive, and that's fine, honestly. And there you can't. A lot of teams aren't able to execute that properly on this map. And it's really refreshing to see that this dive team is confident and talented enough to really take it out here. Now, this second point is very brawl coded and actually is very hard to play the poke on. So it'll be up to Izanagi to really keep this space. They swap to this bat brig backline, which is really mostly seen in brawl comps, but the Flux and the Kitsune Rush come out.
Theory tries to pop the beat to keep everybody alive. It doesn't seem to work as Mignana is going to fall from it. Revolve pops the OC. They do a lot of damage. They're not able to take down Shoreline, but they put a lot of pressure as Shoreline falls. Didn't have the bubble to potentially use to save themselves as they tried to jump in to get back with their team, and Revolve was holding the angle and uses the right click to take them down. So now Wild does have the window to potentially use. Vic's coming up on Bob as a potential option, but for the side of Blackout Eclipse, you've got an OC, you've got a Blade, and you've got Primal as an option as you're popping the Blade right away, trying to take down Revolve. Revolve is going to fall. They are going to use the dash to try and get back over to Wanderlust to do some damage, but Wanderlust is going to take them down in the process. No other ults have been popped just yet, but the payload is going to continue progressing as Collapse has their eye on Shoreline. Shoreline is going to pop the Primal, try and keep themselves alive, and their target is going to be Wild here, who's in a small room by themselves. Theory is going to be the main one trying to fight Wild, but Wild pops the Immortality and takes down Theory before finally getting taken down by Shoreline as well. Bob is going to get thrown onto the point. Let's see what Bob can do as they're basically right at the payload trying to, taking care of multiple angles, and they're going to take down Mignana with the help of Bob.
Bobber is a very good ultimate for anchoring. As soon as Bob was popped, Blackout got all the way out, and it gave him all of the space that they needed. And just cleaned up Mignana in the back line, not allowing him to set up an early angle. And that's kind of how you have to play this. I mean, while I had my doubts about being able to play this effectively here, but they jump onto, but Vic finds the early pick on Shoreline.
Wild does use the window, opting to use it more for the increased healing, but also in this situation, Shoreline diving into Vic and the team. Wild had a perfect angle to use that window to get a lot of value off of it. That's a really nice dynamite that's gonna get a lot of the team. And now Theory does have the beat in hand. You've got OC, you've got a Kitsune Rush as well, as that's the first one that's going to get used, and you do have the rally for the Brig, as that's the first thing that they're going to pop up. And so far the only thing, but Collapse is really close to getting their Gravitic Flux, and considering how closed in the team was prior to this, the Gravitic Flux could switch the fight, but it doesn't look like they're going to need to, as they're going to find a lot of value and a lot of picks without having to commit another ult besides the rally.
If I'm what's it called? If I'm Izanagi here, I pop my Flux early. I pop my Flux early, and then pull out my Sojourn ult just to go skeet shooting.
True, and I mean, you do have Vic who has the Bob, so you could either do the OC or the Bob ult. I'd argue use the Bob ult later on to try and use it as more a zoning tool and just a way to anchor down the payload.
And
as
a huge coach gun from
the
Vic.
Flux. Good coach gun by Vic as well. Cupid is going to use the OC, trying to take somebody down with it. They're not going to be able to. Revolve is going to use the OC of their own. They're not going to be able to find a kill, as they are going to get taken down. Bob's going to be put on the payload, doing some damage. Shoreline's bubble is going to help a lot with that, to try and negate some of the damage that Bob is doing. Mignana's going to pop the Blade as a last-ditch effort, just trying to take somebody down with overtime ticking here. Theory's with them, as the fight for the payload is going to result in a little bit more progress, but ultimately Blackout Eclipse is only going to get 1 point. That is only going to get 1 point on Havana attack, as now Izanagi have the opportunity to close out the map here, depending on how far they can push the payload.
Now, there's a valuable lesson to be learned from Blackout Eclipse's attempt. Sometimes paper doesn't always beat rock. Sometimes, and what by that I mean picking countercomps thinking brawl dive beats poke doesn't always work on maps, especially like Havana, because Havana doesn't have a lot of secret routes to go on. There's no there aren't a lot of like flank routes and not a lot of high ground that's easily accessible from the attacker side. So that's why despite everything, even at the top level, poke is still favored on Havana.
True. So you're going to see Theory and Race going over to this on a break backline that, I mean, a lot of people are really accustomed to. Collapse is going to stick with the Sig, which honestly, Sig was always one of my favorite tanks to watch. I remember earlier on in the season, we had a just diabolical rock clip that was caught on stream. But Vic is gonna go over to the Echo. So interesting to see. Cupid's on the Ash, and Vic's gonna switch fairly early back to the Ash themselves. So
that's the issue with this dive comp here, is you have to give a lot of space before engaging like this with the rock. And that gives the poke the advantage to set up around these corners. And honestly, Izanagi has to make a play soon, has to do something in order for Collapse to not just whittle down this backline. Jumping backwards was not what I had in mind there. And the rock hits Shoreline, and he falls really low, but decides to engage, and he falls to Wanderlust, and Wild catches Theory.
Collapse did get slept by Race, but Race is in a really bad position here. They are just set up to be staggered, as the rest of the team's just going to go for the stagger. Yeah, they were in a really bad position.
An unfortunate turn of events for Blackout Eclipse here. Now Izanagi just taking this high ground for free, walking the red carpet, not allowing this Winston to get any sort of space, kind of like what happened in the Cincinnati Zoo in 2016.
Oh my god, again! Oh lord. But yeah, Izanagi Esports here are just trying to get as much space as they can, just trying to keep the pressure on Blackout Eclipse, as Cupid is going to go over to the Soldier, locking the legs, and almost falls to the right click, but is going to be able to live. A lot of damage done there onto Collapse, who is forced to use the Eat just to try and keep themselves alive, but they are very close to a Flux, and a Gravitic Flux can basically guarantee an escort win, because you force everybody off of the payload for a duration of time, and it's going to be very helpful for them. Shoreline is going to get nanoed. You do see the window get used from Wild, and that is a huge anti-nade.
I mean, I would like to see the Race POV on that one.
Oh, I wish that was in my power to see the POV of hitting that anti-nade, because that is a thing of dreams for any Ana player.
I'm sad that you didn't get my joke.
I had a bit of a
Cupid.
brain
Oh
not
my
working,
gosh!
but okay.
Look at those shots from
Early
Cupid.
Flux. Cupid has been going off on the Soldier as well. You see the Bob get pushed. You see the rally from both sides.
Check Cupid's PC for sure. Look at this.
Well, is Cupid on PC? They might be console, because I don't think I've seen aim this smooth from a PC player in a long time. Shoreline's gonna pop the Primal Rage just to try and stay on this payload as long as possible. Revolve pops the OC, but that turns them into the primary target for Shoreline. Shoreline's already dangerously low. Cupid is gonna fall from the dynamite. Burn, baby, burn. Cupid's gonna get taken down, and they had the visor, which could have been very, very beneficial for their team. So now it's going to be a question of what they can do. Collapse is going to try and use the rock, but he's not going to be able to stun anybody with it. You are going to see the Genji trying to make some space, cause some mayhem in the backline. Isn't going to be able to find a kill off of it just yet, but Mignana's going to take down Revolve. You see the visor going to get taken down! Wild's gonna pop the window, 0.8 meters and counting, as now the payload is stunned. That rock is huge. Shoreline is going to be nanoed as they're jumping in here. The anti-nade on Collapse is going to potentially beat the dagger, as Collapse is 40 HP and they're gonna try and get as long of a stagger as they possibly can off of that.
Caustic, I'm starting to think that paper beats rock a lot of the time.
Fair enough. And Cupid here,
Poke
after
really
that
struggles.
Soldier, after playing Soldier, switches over to Tracer.
Poke really struggles to take back points. Really struggles to take back points like this, especially if you're not taking advantage of this high ground. And Collapse goes for the Sigma ult, slams down but doesn't kill anything. However, the one in the room's really low. Vic popping the early bomb.
The bomb was used very early. Shoreline used the Primal Rage. Mignana has the blade. Collapse is switching over to the Winston. Vic switching over to the Tracer. We're seeing a mirror. Well, almost. The only difference is Bap and Ana from, if I'm not mistaken, and Revolve and Genji with Mignana. But you're seeing a hold of a lifetime here from Blackout Eclipse, and there's barely any payload progress that they have to get, or that Izanagi have to get, but the Blade's going to take down one early on. It's not going to be able to find a second, but it's going to at least confirm one early pick, and it's going to let them try and fight back on this payload a bit longer. Wanderlust is going to go over to the Kiriko, just trying to get some healing, some more healing to keep them alive longer enough, or long enough to try and cap this payload for them. But Blackout Eclipse has really become a boulder in this situation, and they're not letting them get any space. Cupid tries to use the pulse. They're not going to get a pick off of it. Wild is very close to the window here, but it's going to be interesting to see how much value it can get. Collapse uses the bubble early on, trying to just confirm as much payload space, as much space as they can, but they're going to be antied, and they're going to get taken down before they can potentially get cleansed by the Kiri. And now with very little space left, it's just a matter of seconds here. Revolve's the only one left for Izanagi Esports to try and keep this map going, and it looks like Blackout Eclipse are gonna win the escort map after a monumental hold, and we're going to a map 5 again. Dusty's not here, and I immediately checked the media chat in Discord, and Dusty is raging.
This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy.
Paper beats rock. I was wrong. I'm coming out with a public apology for Blackout Eclipse. I messed up. Pulling out the ukulele, toxic gossip train. You're just better. I mean, what else can I say?
That was a hold and a half. I was not expecting a hold that strong.
I may have been silent, but I was on the edge of my seat that entire time at Caustic. I was like,
the unthinkable happens. So we're going to push.
So Izanagi, I'm gonna call it Izanagi's picking Runasapi. They're pulling out the queen again.
You think they're going Runasapi? You think they're going Runasapi?
I do.
Part of me doesn't want it. Part of me does, and I'll tell you why. If they pick Runasapi, that means that Samoa, a control map, is the one map that will have not been seen coming into the next matchup. That means if Samoa is ever on stream, it is the last map shown on stream for season 0, and it's Control.
No, all my homies hate Samoa, so I'm not gonna lie to you.
Everybody hates Samoa, apparently.
Like I said, all my homies hate Samoa, and everybody loves me. So everybody's my homie. Says the Chinese girl.
All right. Well, we do have some switches coming in, some swaps. Manana's going onto the bench for Blackout Eclipse. Dino Dan's coming back in.
Same, see you Manana on the roster.
Manana? You don't see them? Or Blackout Eclipse?
Aren't they going on the bench?
Yeah.
I said see you Manana.
I gotcha. I see.
I'm really funny. Thank you.
But so just going to confirm the switches here on my end. So we're going to have. Oh, this is a match. So going over to Blackout Eclipse.
You say that again.
You've got Shoreline on tank, Cupid and Dino Dan on your DPS line now, Theory and Race as your supports. Going over to Lijiang. Oh, go ahead.
It looks like that Blackout is preparing for them to go on that Queen comp again.
Yeah. Looks to be the case. And now going over to Izanagi. Collapse stays. Revolves on DPS. Era comes back in on DPS. Wild and Wanderlust stay the same. And we have map 5, which, to quote somebody in the match chat, happy birthday Shoreline, birthday map 5. And the thing I feared has become a reality. Runasapi is the push map, and Samoa, a control map, is the last map, if it ever gets picked, to be shown on stream.
Well, I do have to say, with the other maps, push all kind of suck. Paraiso is that dark horse. Paraiso is weird because I feel like at the dark horse, a lot of teams have figured out, oh wait, hold on, this map is actually kind of fire. After, nobody wants to scrim it because of Scrim's Row. There's always Scrim's Row in the map pool. And then you have Lijiang Tower, which everybody wants to scrim.
Mm-hmm.
Oasis, which is a lot of teams' second choice. A lot of teams' second choice next to I guess third choice next to Nepal. And you got Samoa, where it's just kind of like, I don't know, man. Like nobody likes it.
Oh my god!
If you ask me how many times I've scrimmed on Samoa, I can count it on one hand. For every team I've ever played for, I've scrimmed Samoa maybe like a few times. And we didn't have a map pool.
Oh Lord. So I guess Dusty. I know Dusty's sitting here muted and arguably enraged. Oh, they already left. They already left. So I was going to say Dusty has the curse of like 3 Overwatch. I feel like most of the times that I've casted, it's went to a map a 3-2 push map. I think Dusty has to co-cast with me if he wants to break the curse.
Or maybe Dusty should just stop casting for Nebula.
No, we can't have Dusty stop casting. Dusty is a fan favorite. Dusty was right. I'm pretty sure me and Dusty were tied. No, actually, I had one vote higher than Dusty for the caster awards in Shadow, which I still stand by the fact that Dusty should have won it over me. But we're now going to be going into Runasapi, the tiebreaker map, and I mean, I don't think you can really tie on Runasapi. It would be wild if these teams equal lineup, like equal standings, equal in strength, and the last map of the regular season for the both of them in a tie on a push map.
Okay, so all right, that's kind of what I expected. Race PvP, Blackout opting for this very tanky Freak Juno backline into the Queen comp. It's gonna struggle a lot to. It's gonna struggle a lot. It seems gonna struggle a lot to Rampage because there's not a defensive ultimate to help with it other than Rally, and even then, Rally's not that great of an answer.
Yeah, but
unless you're able to get the summon.
We've talked about adaptability. This is the true test of adaptability here, as early fights are going to be coming in. As always, you just see a little bit of poke damage coming in to begin before you see someone fully commit to a fight. Collapse is half. They're not going to get dove on by the rest of their team, but you do see the Juno speed orb coming in. Shoreline is going to get pulled in from the knife of Collapse, but has not been forced into the punches form yet. Collapse is going to try and dive into the backline. They're going to take down the Brig with them. Shoreline is going to go into the punches mode, but they're not going to be able to take somebody down with it, just using it primarily for the extra defense and health, as they are going to get taken down. Revolve is going to take down Dino Dan. Arrow's going to take down the Juno. So the only person left for Blackout Eclipse is the Tracer, who's opted just to go back to their team and kind of reset here, as the push bot progress is going to be starting off for Izanagi. And they're trying to get it to halfway as fast as they can.
Now this early lead from Izanagi can be huge. This Queen comps are known to snowball.
And you do see Shoreline go back over to the Queen of themselves, but Collapse is going to get the kill on them first. Theory's going to get taken down from Era as well, who got the final blow on Collapse. Just to correct myself there, and now Era is just going to be trying to kite back. They went all the way over to their spawn, and Izanagi Esports are going to get the first half of the push bot, and they get that good spawn advantage. Era here is dangerously close to a blade. They are going to get it. They do fall low on the progress. They're able to deflect the ability from the Soch, and they're going to pop the blade early on, looking to try and get a kill. They're not able to get one just yet. They're slicing and dicing on the JQ. They're not able to confirm a kill on it. They are going to get taken down here, but 100 meters for Izanagi, and Blackout Eclipse has not gained a meter yet, but Cupid does have this pulse bomb, and they can get something potentially momentum shifting here, as instead they're not going to use the ult just yet, but they are going to be able to shift the fight over to Blackout Eclipse.
Now, something to really watch out for is that Izanagi has this ultimate advantage over Blackout. However, all Blackout needs to do is pop that Rampage, and there's not much that Izanagi can do.
And Collapse has the Rampage now. Revolve gets a right-click kill onto Cupid, so that pulse bomb is no longer in the equation. And Collapse is gonna wait out the Kitsune the Kiri cleanse before using the ult. It's gonna find a lot of them. It's gonna find most of them. Shoreline's gonna fall as well. Collapse is gonna use the shout for the extra health, and Race is going to get taken down by Era. Cupid's the only one that's still alive, and they're just trying to find an opportunity to use the pulse bomb to get some value, and they desperately need it right now, as 120 meters for Blackout Eclipse. Revolve is going to use the OC, but not going to get stuck by the pulse that was used from Cupid. The OC is not going to be able to find a pick. Wild does have the beat if they need to use it to sustain, but Blackout Eclipse definitely has the ult advantage here with 4 ults online. It's going to be interesting to see which ult they try and pop first. Shoreline here trying to do some damage, keep the push bot from moving any further. Wanderlust is fairly close to the Kitsune rush of their own. Shoreline is going to pop the rush here, uses the old wild, uses the beat of their own to keep the team alive. Dino Dan's gonna pop the OC. You're gonna see the beat used from Theory as well. The only ult that's left for Blackout Eclipse is the Kiri rush. You see the Kitsune rush get used from Wanderlust for the side of Izanagi Esports, but they're not going to be able to sustain long enough. Era is the only one left, and they're going to get staggered here as the push bot is going to finally gain some progress for Blackout Eclipse.
Now, like I said before, these queen comps are known for snowballing, and that holds true for both sides. This advantage could be very easy to keep up if Izanagi is able to keep up this pressure.
True, but Era does have a blade, and depending on how much value they can get from it, it could be huge in turning this fight, as they're going to take down the Kiri right away. Collapse is going to find Dino Dan and take them out. Era is going to try and get some another pick here, but they're not going to be able to do it in time. But Collapse already almost has another ult for themselves, and Cupid has that pulse. We've seen this scenario a couple times before. Cupid here has the pulse. Who are they going to be able to stick? Are they going to be able to stick anyone? They're not. The stick is going to miss. Collapse has the JQ ult, and they're looking for a big opportunity to use it as they get 3. Now they're looking just to confirm the rest of the kills as they can, as the rest of the team goes falling down, and mere meters left to go on this push map. You hear the beeps. 3 meters and counting, as Blackout Eclipse are going to be able to contest in time to potentially live a little bit longer. Era's gonna find the Kiri, Collapse is gonna find the Soj, Cupid finds Wanderlust, but the rest of the team goes falling. Shoreline uses the ult in a desperation attempt to try and win this fight, but they're gonna get taken down. Cupid is gonna be able to contest a bit longer. Grace is gonna be able to TP with them, and now, despite the ult from Revolve on the OC, the momentum being able to contest long enough, Cupid being able to get back to touch, is going to make it so that Blackout Eclipse will live another day. So their back was against the wall, but they kept fighting, and they're alive for a little bit longer.
Now Izanagi has now Black Ops Eclipse has a very good chance here. All they have to do is keep this ultimate advantage going. Well, rather use this beat effectively and build up that Kitsune as fast as you possibly can, or else it's curtains.
Cupid is dangerously low. They don't have a recall to be able to use, so they're gonna have to try and kite away from Era, who spotted them out pretty early. Cupid's gonna look for a pulse here. They're gonna stick, and they're gonna take down Wanderlust, who did pop the Kitsune rush right before it. You do see the beat get used by Theory. Era here trying to focus on the Tracer, has a beat of their own to potentially use. They're going to take down Theory in the backline, and now they're going to use the Blade. They're going to take down the Kiriko with it, slicing and dicing, trying to get some damage onto the JQ. JQ is dangerously low, and the Genji's not going to give up on taking them down. You're going to see the deflect get used to keep themselves alive, and now Era is just trying to mess with any space that the team has left, as Izanagi Esports are going to regroup, give Blackout Eclipse more bot control, and try and take another fight and potentially use that to snowball. But we'll see if it works out, as OC is in the hands of Dino Dan. They have to keep an eye on the JQ ult. Collapse is going to use the knife early. It's not going to get the value they want.
Collapse. All Izanagi has to do is get that Suzu out early, and it's over for them. However, if Dino Dan sees a very good opportunity to pop this OC, they could just live to fight another day.
Ooh,
And it
Dino
gets a
Dan takes
pick off
down
on Wild.
Lucio with takes down Wild's Lucio. They're very low, but they're gonna get the support they needed to not fall from Era, who had a perfect LOS on them. Cupid's got the pulse. Dino Dan's got the OC still in hand. Shoreline's got the JQ ult, and Blackout Eclipse has the ult advantage. It's up to Izanagi as Cupid's gonna get a pulse bomb kill on Era early on. And now it's up to Blackout Eclipse to push this bot potentially all the way to the spawn of Izanagi Esports. As you're gonna see the OC from Revolve gets used early. It is now officially overtime, so someone has to stay with that push bot at all times. You see an ult dump get used there from both teams. The clock is ticking. Shoreline, the only person left. The last hope for Blackout Eclipse, but they're going to get taken down. And that's going to do it. As Izanagi Esports are going to win the push map. And they are going to become the #1 seed of Div 1 or Div 4 with a 3-2 win.
What a fantastic showing from both teams. On a huge Winston mirror. However, I think the real strength was shown in Izanagi's queen composition. That was a sincerely scary thing to go up against, and Izanagi didn't have a very good answer for it. Even trying to mirror that queen comp in the end didn't end up working for them. So, let's talk about MVPs here. I think the MVP is kind of obvious in my opinion. What won them? What do all three of Izanagi's victory maps have in common?
Sorry, I'm just.
They got that Junker Queen, baby.
Yeah.
I think Collapse clinches this MVP for sure.
You know, I gotta agree with you. I'm gonna give a personal shout out MVP to my vocal cords. But yeah, I gotta say, Collapse
doing the Lord's work over there.
Yeah, Collapse has to get MVP. I also kind of want to give a shout out to Wild just because they got robbed of a boop kill. But
Wild is also another very good. That's very true. Wild's another very good contender.
Yeah,
Starting the map off with getting a boop. They then took it personally, and proceeded to get multiple boop kills to end off Lijiang Tower. So
the storyline, you gotta respect the storyline. You still have to give it to Collapse. I mean, Collapse just did exceptional.
Still gotta get to the Collapse.
Yeah.
However, Wild, we saw you.
Yeah.
And we like what we saw.
Yeah. The MVP goes to Collapse, but that's not to say that, you know, Wild wasn't equally deserving, or, you know, they still did amazing. So with that, that's going to be the first map of the night, wildly enough, and that confirms your first seed, if I'm not mistaken, for Div 4, which are going to end up being Izanagi. And that's going to basically be... that's going to be it for the Div 4 match tonight. In the meantime, though, we're going to take a small break. Remember to get your water, get your popcorn, get your snacks, hydrate. Hopefully don't lose your vocal cords like I'm going to tomorrow. And when we come back, we're going to have two new casters coming in for you guys. So this has been Caustic, your producer, host, part-time caster.
And this has been Jem. Yeah. Jem, the greatest analyst caster to ever walk this earth.
We'll let you do a little bit of self-glazing. That's fine. So when we come back, We're gonna have some new casters. I'm gonna go back to my production job, and we'll have a Div 5 matchup to show you all as one of the 3 remaining undefeated teams are going to be trying to hold a perfect record in the regular season. So stay tuned. Hello, everybody. So sorry for the wait. Sadly, after a lot of complications that came up and stuff like that, we are not going to be able to cast and stream this matchup tonight. We have went a fair bit past our typical time to start a match, and we sadly are not going to be able to continue with casting the match tonight. With that, tomorrow, as always, we're going to have the Fallen facing off against Leica. We will give a ping in the Discord. If you guys are not part of the Discord, feel free to check it out. But we will give a ping in the Discord with any information that we can regarding that match, especially prior to the stream. And tomorrow on stream, as long as I am able to, I am going to update the graphic that we have here to show the results of the Drop the Gun versus Heavy Hitters matchup that would have been streamed tonight. So with that, as unfortunate as it is, that is going to be the end of the stream for tonight. So, as always, I am your host, producer, part-time caster, Caustic. Joining me earlier tonight was Gem. And with that, we will see you all tomorrow for the Div 2 matchup of the Fallen facing off against Leica Esports. So for everybody watching, have a good morning, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you are, and be sure to check in for the match tomorrow. And we'll see you all later.